Hello everyone, welcome back to another Project Gladiator weather forecast. Um, Today I'll be covering the weather for April 18th. I didn't post a forecast yesterday because by the time I got home and started making the forecast, by the time it would have gotten out there, it would have been so late in the day that it would have been pretty pointless. But it also the severe weather threat for today for yesterday wasn't it was not that big of a deal. It was not too severe. It was a marginal threat that encompassed like this much of Texas, and the only threat for that was probably going to be damaging winds and maybe hail, and that all moved east into the Gulf of Mexico. But for today, we have a marginal threat that encompasses most of the Midwest. Um, with this, it's going to bring mostly damaging winds and hail. There's not really much of a tornado threat, but there is a threat for hail and damaging winds. But if we look at pivotal weather, you see that a lot of the storms is starting off as like really strong, heavy precipitation and mixture of possibly hail. This is probably there's probably some hail mixed in there, uh, and that starts off in Nebraska and southern Minnesota and parts of Wyoming, and that blows up. It becomes like more organized together, and it moves east into Iowa, and then moves off into Wisconsin, Illinois, and Missouri by Wednesday. But for today, there's I don't really know how big the threat is for severe weather, but all I'm really seeing is this system of storms in Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Montana. Um, Sorry if I said Minnesota earlier. That's Montana, but that moves east. The threat with this is not really going to be much of a threat for tornadoes, but there is the threat for damaging winds and hail, especially in parts of uh, like in parts of Nebraska and Iowa, or along the Nebraska and Iowa border, where most of it's going to be most intense, and down through South Dakota, uh, North Dakota, and Montana, there's not going to be as big of a threat for damaging winds and hail, but there still is that threat, and it will move east into upper parts of North Dakota, and it will go east into Minnesota, Iowa, and then by Wednesday, and then continue into Wisconsin, and still bring uh, the potential for hail and damaging winds as it moves east into Wisconsin and Illinois by Wednesday. But that's all I'm really seeing for today. But for the winter storm that everyone's been talking about, there's a lot of the cold front that recently passed through, dropped temperatures across the northern Midwest to really low temperatures, uh, and it's been causing lots of snow. Uh, as you can see in Montana and down through Idaho and Wyoming, you saw earlier, there was a lot of snow for for those areas, and it's pretty much like the entire northwest, and some of that will even and then not even, but as that low pressure system that is going to bring a lot of the severe weather this week on Friday towards the northern part of the low pressure system to the west. It's going to bring lots of snow by Friday to parts of Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and continue east because of the low temperatures. And because of the low temperatures, it's going to bring lots of snow for those areas. But then that's all it. But then it will like move east into a part, most probably parts of Iowa, Wisconsin. But this is subject to change. It could continue on the weather models down into Iowa and Nebraska, but most of what we're going to be seeing is going to be in North Dakota, South Dakota, and uh, more than likely Minnesota and maybe parts of Wisconsin. But the new cold front, the second cold front that's going to be passing through, is going to be uh, getting is going to start forming by Friday. But by Friday, it's going to have the most potential for tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. And as that moves east, it will continue east, and it will continue by Saturday. It will start reaching parts of the like really eastern east of the United States, past Tennessee and Ohio, and it will continue into by Sunday. It will continue into Sunday and really get like it's going to bring lots of hail or the potential for large hail, lots of rain, and damaging straight line winds to the New England area and lots of the eastern United States, and that will continue east. And again, as I covered on the weekly overlook, it's going to drop temperatures significantly in the New England and northeastern area. So watch out for the potential for snow too, and getting and how it gets really cold at night with really low temperatures as the cold front passes through the eastern United States. But if we look at the total not rainfall, snowfall for let's say 24 hours in parts of the Northeast, there's a lot of snow with this winter storm. And then you can see by Friday with that cold front, there's a chance to get even like maybe a foot of snow, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, but at at most a foot of snow. Um, in some areas, it's saying 15 feet or 15 inches. So there's going to be the potential for lots and lots of snow. So uh, watch out for that. And then as that low pressure system moves east, it will bring lots of snow to more parts of the northeast United States, to Michigan, parts of Ohio, Indiana, and the Michigan Peninsula, and that will continue to move east into West Virginia, the high parts of West Virginia, along the Appalachian Mountains, and Pennsylvania, and in mid New York, and that will continue. But then you can see this as when everything clears up over here, there will still be snowfall in parts of South Dakota, Nebraska, Colorado, and Wyoming and Montana, and that will continue. It's saying that's going to get even far south as to New Mexico. So uh, that will continue to stay into maybe even next weekend, um, by Sunday. Actually, I think that's Sunday for this weekend, but it's gonna it's really snowing pretty hard along most in a lot of parts of the United States, especially in this mostly this area, and then this area is where you're gonna see most of the snow. So if you live in those areas, watch out for snow into the later parts of the week, especially Friday and Saturday for this part of the United States. Um, and Sunday for Michigan and northeastern United States. But But if you live in this part of the United States, you're going to get probably constant snow for uh, a lot of the week. But there will be breaks here and there between snowfall. You can see on the models, some areas don't get as much snow, and then they get snow again. So uh, watch out for that if you live in those areas. You're going to get lots of snow, maybe more than a foot of snow in parts of northern Wyoming and Montana. So watch out for lots of snow. And if you live in the Arkansas area, Arkansas region, and up through here in eastern United States, there's the potential for damaging winds, really damaging winds, large hail, and maybe the possibility for tornadoes as the cold front moves east across the United States. So watch out for that too. And I will hopefully see you with another forecast. And make sure to check out the socials for Project Gladiator in the description.